Now we will begin our webinar on restorative yoga for stress relief. And I'd like to introduce Tara Piccolo from Love Yoga. So Tara, take it away.
Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so excited to see you here today, and I'm happy to be here with Triage Cancer and First Ascents. With Love Yoga, I provide yoga programming for individuals and groups, and so I do work with people one-on-one and teach them how to incorporate yoga into their life. And I also provide yoga programming when I go and work with different organizations. This is an example, or this week I'm actually up in Estes Park tomorrow, and I was on Tuesday with First Ascents and was getting to teach a way to balance the adventure side of what they do through yoga. And so, yeah, I'm happy to be here virtually and online because I believe that being able to do this practice in the comfort of your own home is very special. Today, we are going to be really trying to cool down from all this summer heat that we're having, because we know we're in the heat of the summer, and so restorative yoga is a way to cool down from that. It also is a way to slow down the stress response in our body. And so we'll talk a little bit about stress right now, and I know, think about how that word resonates for you. I know most of us probably think of it as something that may be a little negative in our lives, and honestly, stress isn't bad. And it's just the way that we react to stress, or the way that we process or don't process stress, that can then get stored in the body. And so I would love for you just to think about for one moment, who feels stress on a daily basis? You don't have to say anything, just think in your heart, do I feel stress? And let that resonate. And then also think about, what do you do to recognize stress and deal with it? And I would really love for anyone to share, if they're comfortable. You could either just type something in the chat and I could, kind of scan through. I just am curious to see, how do you relieve stress in your life on a regular basis? I think it's safe to say we all feel it. So and we probably all have our own unique techniques and strategies. Go for walks. That's a good one. Yeah, outside in nature, right? That's a big one, I think. The fresh air, beautiful scenery, using our senses when we go on a walk, experiencing the outdoors. Those are definitely great ways. And okay, I see some yoga in there too. Nice. Yoga can definitely relieve stress, and it doesn't have to be doing postures or a whole class. It can simply be tapping into your breath, taking a time to mindfully connect with your body and think, how do I feel right now? Versus how do I want to feel? Ooh, dance and yoga. Yeah. And also talking to colleagues and friends. Okay, connecting with others. That's a great one too. Playing with your kitties. Same with my dog. I love that. Connecting with animals is important. And I love that these are all active ways that you are intentionally connecting with yourself through movement, or also with other people, with animals. I haven't seen anything about, oh, I just like to turn on a TV show, which, yes, that can definitely be relaxing, but it's also not a way to mindfully deal with stress. So these are all great ways. Thank you for sharing. Now, I'm just going to tell you a little about the two kinds of stress that we experience in life. One is known as acute stress, and that's when we tend to have something like very traumatic happen. Maybe you were chased by, a wild animal when you're out on a hike or something, and then you get away and you feel free and you celebrate, and there's a whole stress response that gets complete. Done and done, your body naturally moves through it. There's also something called chronic stress. And so we know chronic things keep happening in life. And sometimes these are things where we are aware we're stressed about, but they just keep going on day after day, and they eventually just start to wear on us. And it's hard to really process them fully. And so really mindfulness becomes the key of do I feel something that stresses me out day to day? And I know here we have a mixed group. There's some caregivers, there's some cancer survivors, we also have healthcare workers, and we all experience stress in different ways. And it is ongoing, like cancer treatment, from diagnosis through treatment, even into when you move back into your life and are readjusting after treatment. I know the healthcare profession is a stressful world out there, and you're taking care of a lot of people. Same with caregiving, and it goes on and on. So those are the moments in life that I like to bring a little bit more attention to, because those are the times to just check in with yourself and realize, do I feel like my true nature, my true self inside? And that's what restorative yoga is going to take us to. By slowing down our bodies and tuning in, we're going to be able to really get inside and feel how we hope to feel on a regular basis. Yoga, like I said, it's just one way. So I'm hoping that this resonates with you today. There are a few other health benefits to restorative yoga. So I know sometimes it feels like if we're slowing down so much, are we really doing something? But when we're in that stress response, it's called sympathetic nervous system response. It's the stress is activated in the body. And if we consciously take the time to activate more of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, it means we have to completely balance it with the opposite energy, which is really slowing down intentionally. And so that's where the healing takes place. Our bodies are miraculous, and they know how to heal, and they know how to just repair after they've been through stress if we give them the opportunity to. But so often we're like, oh, we got to go one thing to the next, because it's human nature in life to be that way. Nothing wrong with it. But once you get a little bit drained, it's time to then tune in and slow down. So other benefits of restorative yoga, other than stress management, is it will help you sleep better. It will help you with healthy respiration rates, improved digestion, chronic pain relief, because it relieves so much tension in the body, emotional well-being, and it also lowers cortisol levels in the body, and that's also attached to the immune response and hypertension, maybe brain fog that we can experience. So restorative yoga is a really great way to slow down and tune in. And so I'll stop talking now, because I know that the experience in and of itself is really what you're here for. And so we're going to need a few props today. Restorative yoga focuses on holding poses that are very gentle in nature. I'm going to give you a few options each time we move into a pose, just in case you have anything physically going on in your body that doesn't feel quite right, because you should be very comfortable and able to settle in. We'll probably only be doing about 8 poses in this class, and then learning how to soften into each one. We'll be focusing on our breath. It's a little bit meditative in nature. And we'll end with a nice deep relaxation where we'll scan through the body and notice how you feel. So before we go to our mats, I would love for you just to share in the chat how you're showing up. And it can be just one word. And it just no judgment, very honest. And maybe it is something that you feel anxiety, or you feel some stress. Maybe you're feeling really energetic today, but all of this helps me know how to then just cue you into the poses a little bit, and know how everyone, our group, is feeling. So if you feel comfortable with that, just take a moment or two to write how you're feeling. All right. Exhausted, anxious, calm. Very good. Unfocused. I know how that feels. I know how all these feel, actually. Sometimes all on the same day, right? That's the thing about life. We just kind of go through this cycle of feeling all the things. So we do have some stress, over caffeinated and frenetic. Well, hopefully this will definitely take the energy level down. Exhausted, fatigue. Okay, lots of mixed emotions going on, and good thing is that this restorative yoga will help us with all of them. Um, and as I mentioned, we're going to need some props, and it's all things you'll have at home. So 2 pillows, just regular size pillows from your bed or your couch, and then also 2 blankets or small towel, like a towel, because we'll roll them up in different ways and use them to support us. So you can gather those, and then you can meet me on your mat. Take a moment or two to do so. I have mine all right here. This is my bed pillow, and then I have this heart-shaped pillow. So they don't both have to be the same size. It's just whatever works for you. And then these are my blankets. They're yoga blankets, but like I said, they don't have to be. So we're gonna actually put one of the blankets to the side along with one of the pillows. The second pillow is going to actually start, and have them close by. I'm moving mine a little further up so that they're not in the way, but I would say just like keep yours very close, because less movement is key here, and you're gonna wanna just move very slowly between all the poses that we do. So then the second one that we're gonna use is going to go underneath our head, and this pillow is underneath the knees. And when you lie down, you're gonna get real comfortable. If you're feeling like you're cold in your house, you could even put a blanket on top of you for this first part, because we're gonna be lying in this first pose for, I'd say it's a good 10 minutes to start. So just really starting to ground down and settle in. You can close down your eyes and start to feel into your physical body. Notice how it feels settling upon your mat, feeling the ground beneath you, whether it feels hard or soft. Noticing if you feel any tension or any chronic pain surfacing in different areas. Perhaps where you may be holding your stress. We all have those places in the body that kind of tense up. Mine's up in my shoulders and my neck, and I can always tell when I feel stressed, even if I'm not quite aware of it, because my body starts to talk to me. And with that awareness and mindfulness of how you're showing up physically, can you take a deep breath in through your nose, let it out through your mouth, and soften your body just a little bit more. Soften the feet, your legs, your hips. Feel your spine settle upon the mat. Soften your shoulders. Maybe gently rock your head side to side, releasing any neck tension. And then come into stillness. Eyes are still closed. They probably will be most of this class. And then start to move a little bit inward inside the body towards your breath. Notice how it's flowing in and out. Do you notice that your breath feels a little bit shallow, or perhaps If you were feeling anxious, it feels like a pitter patter in your chest. It's a little choppier. Maybe it feels very fluid. And do you notice that your inhales or your exhales are longer? Can you take a moment to smooth out your breath a little bit? Maybe making it a little longer as well. Taking in a little more air on the inhale. Feeling that flow of energy, but also releasing all of the air on the exhale. Even allowing your belly button to draw in towards your spine, completely letting it go. Now we'll try to make our inhales and exhales equal in length. So the next time you breathe in, count your breath to 4. And then as you breathe out, also count to 4. And do that a few more times. Nice steady inhale, rises to 4. And exhale to 4. With these counts, perhaps you could even count a little slower. You may notice that as you slow down your breath, you start to come more into this state of calm and peace. The heart rate slows down because it's directly tied to our respiratory rate. So the slower we breathe, the slower the heart beats, bringing us into that nice state of tranquility. And you may notice that as you work on controlling the breath a little more, this is known as pranayama in yoga. It simply means breathing practice. And there's so many ways we can practice breathing. This is one of my favorites because it's simple. It can be done anytime, anywhere, perhaps even when you're waiting in at the doctor, or if you're at work, you're feeling stress come on. You can mindfully move through that stress and complete the stress response simply by consciously breathing for a minute or 2. If the count of 4 feels pretty easy to you, you may decide to increase your count to 5. Nice and slowly counting up to 5 on the inhales. Letting it go on the exhales. All the way to 5. You may also notice that your breathing is somewhat connected to the mind. And as you control your breathing and you think about how long your inhales and exhales are, perhaps less thoughts are circulating. Our thoughts are also directly tied to how we feel in our physical body. When we have a lot of anxious thoughts or just a lot of thoughts in general running through our mind, the body often feels like it wants to move and it feels a little anxious and get fidgety. But by resisting that urge to move through everything, we're able to slow the body down, slow the mind down, and start to feel what's going on inside our heart, so that space deep within that I was talking about earlier, where in yoga we refer to it as our true nature, how we really want to feel in life. When there's not that mental chatter and we're not moving too much, and we can feel at peace and safe within our body, which is hard to do after we've been stressed, or maybe even after trauma of going through some cancer treatments or surgeries. We're experiencing traumas that other people, if you work in the healthcare industry, perhaps even just being around it is enough to have micro traumas in life. And so when you feel that true nature and you know in your heart, this is really who I am and this is how I want to feel, what comes to mind? Just say that to yourself. Perhaps it's a word or it's a phrase. And then we're going to form an intention using what just came to mind for you. And perhaps you thought, oh, I want to feel at peace, or I want to feel joy, or I want to feel calm. We're going to put that in the present tense, because if we keep saying we want something or we hope for something, then that's just an ongoing verb, where if we say I am or I feel like it's already happening, we start to actually feel into that sooner. We start to believe it. And so I invite you to even place your hands over your heart and say that intention to yourself with your breath. Perhaps it's I am as you breathe in, and then your intention or that word as you breathe out. Do that 2 more times. And so from this space, you'll keep this intention with you as we start to move into some of our other poses in class. This next one, we're going to move slowly and mindfully. We're going to start to take the pillow and kind of move it to the side. We're going to keep it close, roll onto your right side, and the pillow is going to go kind of right by the hip bone here. You're going to lay over it, and then your arm is actually going to slide through, and your head's going to rest on this pillow or with the blanket that you've been using. It could be a pillow, it could be a blanket. So the arm is sliding through here. My knees are going to bend. You could also, you don't have to, but you could place another pillow between your legs. And then we're going to take the left arm up overhead. And you're just going to let the fingertips kind of drip towards the earth. Maybe your hand starts to lay flat. Now, if you have any physical limitations here, that's okay, because I know even with any sort of trauma to the chest area, that might feel tight. So the hand could just lay here in front of your head or off to the side. If there's anything that's going on with your side body where this isn't comfortable for you, then the other option would be to stay on your back, and you could simply bring your right arm up around your head, and that would give you this side body stretch instead. And you can kind of like even move your hips to the side, making more of a banana shape. So you choose which one works for you. If you're in this side lying stretch, that's where I'm going to be staying. And most of these poses we'll be holding for about 5 minutes. And Then we'll move into the other side, and we're just going to let our bodies experience them. And so as you're coming into this pose, again, start to tune into the physical body. Notice what happens as you shifted. What are you feeling? Maybe there's some different sensations. Maybe your arm is even getting a little tired, in which case, can you find some ease? Maybe letting it drape down instead. How can you soften more into this pose? And can you feel your breath moving in and out? Noticing how it shifted. Often when we move our physical body, the tension starts to leave how we're breathing, but we can always bring it back. And see if you can find just a simple rhythmic breathing pattern. Perhaps you go back to inhaling for the count of 4, exhaling for 4. Or you just find a nice steady pattern in and out. Sometimes when we're lying in a pose a little longer, it's natural to have thoughts coming and going. No worries on this. But can you ease your mind? Whether that means bringing attention back to your breath or attention back to your intention. Your intention can actually become a mantra, which is just the repetition of words and phrases. Thinking of that phrase over and over again as you breathe, reminding yourself where you want your energy to flow. We're almost ready to move out of this pose, so we'll just take a few more steady breaths here. Making the breath just a little bit longer, bringing a little more energy back into the body. Last 3 breaths. Now we'll slowly start to move that hand down. You may notice if you kept your arm extended that there's going to be some fresh energy sort of flooding down into your arm. And then this is pretty simple. We're not going to move a lot. We're going to simply start to roll that left shoulder open. So we're coming into a twist. It's an open twist. Again, you may want to take a pillow or one of your other blankets, putting it between your legs like this, because then it levels off your hips. It makes the twist a little bit more gentle. And then just sort of let your shoulders settle down. Now, if this isn't comfortable for you, I'll give you one other option that's also a twist. And so you would actually come up and you would keep your knees bent together, one on top of the other. And you may want 2 pillows. And you can then take your belly, twist over your pillows, and lie down. And your gaze just goes the same direction of your knees. Hands facing down, and you can come into this version. So a I'll always give you a second option of poses just in case something isn't comfortable in your body. The good thing is it doesn't really matter how we do these poses because there's always more than one way to experience something in the body. And so here we're just gently opening this torso, the space within our organs, massaging the breath in and out. And once again, just take a moment to tune in to what's happening here. When you shifted into your twist, what did your body do? Did it tense up at all? And do you feel any areas that maybe there's more pressure or maybe you're feeling not quite comfortable yet? Can you kind of squirm around for just a moment and then settle in completely? Taking a nice deep inhale. Perhaps sighing it out through your mouth if that feels good. Allowing your body to soften. And so twists are really good for any sort of digestive stress that's going on in the body. And our body, often our digestion is what's talking to us when we're feeling stress. If we feel like we had an overwhelming day, there's something that's usually going on down in the belly, how we're digesting food, or even just information that comes our way. Sometimes it's hard to take it all in. We're starting now to even tap more into that parasympathetic nervous system where we're in rest and digest and really settling in, giving our body the space it needs to repair anything that doesn't feel quite right. Continue just to massage the breath in and out, nice and steady. It's pretty normal for it to feel more constricted in a twist. We'll be here for about another minute, so allowing yourself to relax your mind as much as you have relaxed the physical body. Reminding yourself once again of your intention. Begin to deepen your breath just a bit. We're going to slowly shift into these poses on the other side. And so I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that from this position. You can take, if you have anything between your legs, and start to put it on the other side of your body. We're going to leave this stuff just as it is. Just start to slowly roll the knees up to center, trying not to engage too many muscles. A big part of restorative yoga is just allowing everything to become like you're melting. And we're gonna then, I'm not gonna keep my back to you, but you're going to keep that arm extended towards the other wall in your home. And we're going to come into that side bend stretch again. So the pillow might go between the legs, right arm comes up above the head. Once again, you can do this on your back. You would take the opposite then as you did before. And I'm going to actually shift as you're settling into this pose so my back is not to you. So you're just relaxing, really feeling into the pose. Once again, noticing where you may be feeling the subtle pressure. Starting to relieve, soften into that space. Noticing whatever comes up for you. Perhaps it's more physical, or maybe there's a lot going on mentally. If your mind is having a hard time relaxing. That often can get a little stirred up when we start to make transitions. And once again, then you start to take the attention back to the breathing. It may feel nice to even scan your body with your breath. So as you inhale, it may rise up into your fingertips, feeling the stretch in your side body. As you exhale, maybe sending the breath back down your side towards your hips. Doing that a few times, inhaling, allowing the breath to cascade up your side body to the fingers. And exhale, sending it down to your hips, even down your legs towards your feet. Allowing your lower body to soften. Noting if this feels a little different on this side. We all have subtle imbalances within the body, and oftentimes we don't even notice them until we slow down enough to do so, or put ourselves into a posture that maybe we haven't done before. And there's no judgment to these imbalances. All it is information for us to use. And then to try to bring the body back into alignment, back into balance. We have about one more minute. And staying with the breath. Relaxing as much as you can. Drawing that intention back into your heart. And then we'll very, very slowly start to move the hand down if it's not down already. Noticing what happens to the arm. And we're going to roll open into the twist. So as I said, knees stay to the side as they are, and you roll that right shoulder open. When you come into the gentle twist, it might feel different on this side. If this doesn't feel good in your body, as I mentioned earlier, it's as simple as taking your pillows, maybe stacking one on top of the other, and lying down over them, coming into more of a supportive twist. So take that moment to find your pose. Eyes can stay closed this whole time. Almost like a nap where you're moving just a little bit. Here and there, you're staying consciously engaged in this practice. That's what makes it more of a meditation than a nap. It's also what will bring about a calm, centered, even focused, peacefully focused outcome when we're done. I always notice after doing restorative yoga myself, I can go from feeling like a little frenzied in my mind space, sometimes not able to focus on what I'm doing. And then it's so hard to slow down. But then by doing so, can move through whatever I was trying to do before, like it's effortless. And seeing if you can relax and soften your physical body just a little bit more. Inhaling, you feel your breath draw your intention into your heart. And then as you exhale, you soften, letting go of anything that doesn't serve you, anything that doesn't support the intention that you're cultivating for yourself. So that nice, gentle focus on the breath, massages into the organs, restoring the new blood flow to them. Imagining thoughts just passing by, they're drifting across the sky. We're almost ready to transition out of this pose, so take a few more mindful breaths here. And then we'll slowly start to bring that right arm back over by the left. So you're kind of like rolling back into this fetal position. Use the weight of your palm to slowly push yourself up, almost like you're moving through water or honey. We're going to come into a supported child's pose. And so you can actually keep this blanket right here. And I'm going to take both of the pillows. It's okay if child's pose is not comfortable. Of course, I'll give you another option for that. But we're going to start to bring the knees wide. So kind of go around the pillows. They go in between the legs. And then we're going to start to pour the belly down. So I'm melting upon my pillows. And actually you might not need that blanket because if your pillows are there for support, you can place your forehead down. It might be hard to breathe, or you could just look to one side, putting one ear down, and I'll let you know. We'll switch about halfway through so that you can take the other ear down to the mat. Now, if child's pose is not comfortable for you, because it's not for everyone, and in fact, another way to make this more comfortable is taking the blanket or even one of the pillows and setting it so it's like between my butt and my knees so that I can have a little more leverage coming forward and I'm not like, compressing as much back here. So that's one way to make it more comfortable. Another option for you is just going to be to simply come down onto your belly. You can even put your blanket here for some support. Make a pillow with your forehead or with the other blanket. That might be a little too much, but little pillow. Gaze to one side, just like we're doing in child's pose. And allowing your body to just melt into the mat. So you can choose what works for you. And whatever you've chosen, you're just settling into this position. Once again, scanning your body, just noticing maybe what doesn't feel great right now. And noticing if you can soften that a bit. With the softening of your physical body, you may notice your breath, and then it's shifted since we are now belly down instead of having our torso facing up. It's a little more pressure, a little more resistance as we're breathing. You may notice that as you inhale, you'll feel your breath expand down into your pillows or whatever is supporting you beneath. And as you breathe out, it's like a balloon is deflating and you're retracting the belly. So anytime we take these more belly down poses, they can help to relieve anxiety. There's something about just having the pressure on the belly that is satiating, nourishing, supportive. And we rarely take the time to put ourselves into these postures. And if you have an ear down to one side, and see if you notice it feels a little different to shift to the other side. Most likely you put the ear that was most comfortable down first. That's natural. So there may be just a little bit of tension in the neck, especially if you sleep on one side or if you sleep on your belly and then turn your head to one side. Very often we have to then work on opening up the other side. We'll just be here for another minute, softening the body, allowing the props to support you fully. Softening your breath, allowing it to just rhythmically move in and out. softening the mind space. By this point, you're probably starting to feel a little more tired, feeling that rest and digest kicking in, stress more melting away. We'll slowly start to move into our next pose. You can use the weight of your palms to press down and just peel yourself up. Now, there's a few options here. I like to use the blankets or towels for this. And so I'm gonna take, so that mine is kind of folded a few times. And I'm going to take it and roll so that I have this nice long blanket roll. See, like this. I'm gonna place it long ways on my mat. Could use a pillow as well, but it might not be as opening in the shoulders. So you can try, of course, and see if the pillow feels better in just a moment. And we're going to actually lay our spine down onto this blanket roll. Now the other towel or blanket, we're going to kind of open up as well and make another blanket roll. So we got two of these guys now. This one is going to go around our feet. Just kind of nestling our feet in. The knees are going to open wide. And so this blanket is supporting us so that the knees don't just open too much, because that can then start to hurt the hips. The other option is you could actually take a pillow underneath each knee. That might feel more supportive for you. What we're trying to avoid is just allowing the knees to splay open wide. Although that is a yoga pose, when we're doing restorative yoga, we want to have the props to support us. Now, we're going to slowly start to ease our way down gently. This is right at the base of my sacrum. And laying my spine directly on it. My head is resting on the top. So if you don't have enough blanket for your head to rest, put a pillow underneath your head instead. And you want your shoulders to open up over this blanket roll. Now, if this is too much, then what you end up doing is making the blanket roll a little bit smaller, maybe putting a pillow underneath it for support. Or you could just take your blanket more horizontally, roll it up just a tiny bit, and place right beneath the shoulder blades, arms out wide. And that gives you more of a gentle heart opening. When you're wrapping your shoulders around the blanket, it's a little bit more opening, I'd say. If you don't feel enough opening, you could actually maybe take two blankets, roll them together or something, or towels. So you're feeling into this pose. This is obviously a heart opening pose because we're stretching our pecs. We're allowing the thoracic spine to completely relax beneath us. All of our back muscles are starting to disengage, allowing the blanket roll to support. So this is a really powerful pose for working out if you've had any sort of maybe surgery in the chest area or treatment done in this upper body. If there's any sort of like lymphedema going on, it can work through that, the lymph nodes in the armpits. And so just allowing your body to soften and completely open up. I believe that I saw someone wrote in the chat about neuropathy. And so neuropathy, it affects the peripheral nervous system. And so that's all these nerves that start coming, into our limbs It can give pins and needles, pain, pressure, numbness, all sorts of undesired effects. And so the more we relax our nervous system as we're doing through restorative yoga, the more it then can lessen some of the effects, hopefully, that we're feeling of that neuropathy, because it's almost like similar to the tension that we feel during stress. If we can lessen the tension we feel, then we start to feel less chronic pain. The first thing we do when we feel pain is we tense up our body, and our body goes into fight or flight. So taking it into that rest and digest, allowing the body to feel safe, and allowing you to feel safe within your body. It's like rebooting your computer in a way when we reboot the nervous system. So many times we just keep going in life. Applications keep opening on the computer screen, or we keep going from one activity to the next, one appointment to the next, one stressful situation to the next. But what you're doing right now, honestly, just allowing yourself to begin again when you come out of this practice. And by opening this heart space, we often say in yoga, an open heart is an open mind. So energetically, it becomes more uplifting. And honestly, we all feel the physical effects of stress, and working on computers, looking at our phones, we hunch the shoulders inward, protecting our heart. Emotionally, when we feel stressed, we hunch the shoulders and protect the heart. So this pose could even feel a little bit vulnerable. It could bring up some emotions because we're also opening the hips. The hips tend to store a lot of emotion for us. So just honor what you feel when you slow down and you allow yourself to acknowledge the feelings and the emotions that are running through the body. That's what allows us to start to heal. And we'll start to slowly move into our last pose before we go into our relaxation. And so we're going to slowly close the knees like a butterfly, roll onto one side. And this next pose, I realized I probably should have told you to set your mat up close to the wall, because or if you have a chair or even an ottoman in your house or in the room that you're in, you can use that instead. And so you're going to take maybe a pillow or one of your blanket rolls. You're going to put it close to the wall. And you also want to have a blanket for your head. So the head's going to rest on that. Now, in order to get into this pose, I'm going to the wall, sort of by my side. And I want you to have to move your mat for this. So if you have an ottoman, it might be easier, or a chair, because you can just put your legs up on it. But I'm kind of swinging my legs around, and I'm putting this pillow underneath my back. I'm putting the blanket or another pillow under my head, and see how my legs are up the wall here. Slight bend in them. My heels are, supporting me. If you have obviously like a chair, you would just bend your knees. The goal is more just getting your knees above your heart. So your legs do not need to be extended this far. And this pose is really good for relieving stress. It's also great for if you are feeling nausea, perhaps you're going through some treatment right now. Restorative yoga is actually a great practice when you're currently going through treatment, because you can do this. The body needs extra rest and it needs the time to heal rather than to continue working its way through and doing too much physical activity. And so this pose can really help most digestive discomfort, especially nausea. It's also, like I said, just a general stress reliever. We're reversing the flow. So like any of the blood that pools up into our feet, because we're on our feet all day, starts to reverse. And it starts to move back, flooding back towards our organs, giving us that new energy. Nice and slow. We'll just be here for about another minute. This is a pose I would say you could do this, or even that heart opening pose we just did, in isolation. You don't have to do a full restorative practice, but just put yourself in a posture, set a timer for 5, even 10 minutes. All of these poses, we're holding them for about 5 minutes each, but all of them honestly can be held longer. Restorative yoga is usually anywhere from 5 to even 20 minutes per pose, depending on how long you practice, depending on how many poses you want to do. We'll just take about 3 more mindful breaths here. In your inhale, maybe you draw the breath up towards your toes. As you exhale, feel the breath move down your legs towards your vital organs. Nice and smooth, inhaling to the toes. Exhaling, feeling the breath moving down towards your heart, reminding yourself of your intention. And then after this last exhale, we'll just start to move the feet down off of whatever they're on. Roll onto one side. And you're going to set yourself up for our Shavasana shape. And so I would say something under the head, pillow or a blanket, going back to just how we started class. So another pillow goes underneath the knees. And then I also recommend either a blanket over the body or a blanket over just even this lower abdomen. It just gives a nice satiating feeling, a nice supportive feeling. So once you get settled, of course, keeping the eyes closed, I'm going to sit up so I can just talk a little more clearly, because I'm going to take you through a body scan. And so starting to feel yourself settling down. Body is heavy upon the ground. And notice where you're feeling the pressure and what you can relax. Allow gravity to take over. Notice what you can soften. Now allow your imagination to transport you to your favorite place. A place that you know brings you joy and you feel most like your true self. There's no stress here. Maybe it's somewhere in nature, the beach, the mountains, close to a river. Once you start to get your bearings, begin to focus on what you see around you. You may also start to notice what you smell in the air. It's greenery or perhaps flowers, salty breeze or crisp mountain air. Or maybe it's the smell of your home, favorite place. And also, what sounds do you hear around you? Notice how the ground feels beneath you to your touch. The temperature in the air that surrounds you, the breeze on the skin. Now, can you allow a more of a gradual release and unwinding in your body? You bring awareness down to your right leg, your right foot. Maybe there's a subtle stretch from your toes all the way up to your hips. Taking an inhale, maybe feeling that length in the right leg. And on your exhale, releasing your leg, allowing it to completely settle and relax. And shifting that awareness over to the left foot, the left leg. The next time you take an inhale, you may almost stretch a little bit from your toes to your hip, feeling the length of your leg. Exhaling to release it fully. And then feeling the balance of both of your legs. Inhaling from your toes up to your hips. Exhaling, perhaps feeling the breath travel down your legs as they're supported by the earth back towards your heels and your feet. Now shifting attention up towards your hips and your pelvis. Take an inhale, and you may even squeeze the muscles in your glutes equally, exhaling to release fully, allowing your hips and pelvis to feel the floor supporting them. Once again, taking our awareness down to your toes and inhaling up to your hips. Exhaling this time, letting the breath travel down your quads, down your shins, towards the front of your feet and toes. Notice how your lower body feels compared to your upper body. Is it more relaxed? Is there more tension there? Now we'll take the awareness up slightly towards the torso, feeling your spine heavy upon your mat. What do you notice is going on in this area? There's a lot of activity within our organs. Is there anything that speaks to you? And what can you soften? It may feel good to inhale and clench your abdominals, and exhale to release them fully, feeling your spine supported beneath you. If you take a breath in and it fills up towards your chest, remind yourself of your intention. And exhale to release, letting go of what no longer serves you. Something you may want to leave here. And shift attention to your right arm, feeling the backs of your arm resting upon the mat, back of your hand. And then doing the same over as your left arm, feeling it heavy upon the earth. Tracing down to the palm that's open towards the sky. Both palms open in a gesture of receiving new energy, receiving the intention you've set for yourself. Taking a nice big inhale. Exhale, settling down and even nestling up to your shoulders now. Can you let your shoulders rest heavy upon the mat? Sense of surrender. We carry so much tension, and sometimes it feels like the weight of the world on our shoulders. Can you just let that go? Let go of the stress. Release the neck tension or anything that's still feeling like it's drawing your attention. Feeling the back of your head settling down. Relaxing your facial features, eyebrows, eyelids, allowing the darkness to settle in. Relaxing your jaw, perhaps even parting your teeth a bit. We hold so much tension in the jaw. And then relaxing your mind as much as your whole body. Settling in to stillness. Just begin to deepen your breath. Lengthening inhales and exhales. Finding that nice rhythm once again. New energy flowing through your body. And start to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your wrists and ankles. Maybe reaching your arms overhead, Stretching from the tips of your fingers down to the tips of your toes. Taking that full body stretch like you're pendiculating and waking up first thing in the morning. So moving very slowly and mindfully, you can start to bend your knees, roll on to one side, pausing in that position. Just taking a moment to transition and know that this is the space where you can leave something behind. Taking with you your intention, taking with you maybe some emotions that came up or new ways to work through stress. And then starting to come up to a seated position when you're ready. Eyes are closed, gaze is soft. And we'll close our practice simply by joining our palms together. This is known as Anjali Mudra. It's just a way to unite both sides of our body and bow in a gesture to each of us, connecting today, connecting with our own body and also with each other through yoga. And namaste. That simply means the light and the love in me honors the same light and love in each of you.